After last night's storm, the jungle was soaked in mist, damp, silent, and eerily still. Early this morning, our team received a critical tip. A massive herd of wild boars had been spotted right near the ranger zone, territory they've never dared to enter before. Weapons in hand, drones and thermal scanners prepped, we headed in without hesitation. But the deeper we moved into the jungle, the heavier the air became. Off in the distance, the low guttural growls of beasts echoed, raising the tension like a slow booster. None of us knew if this hunt would end in triumph, or if the jungle had something else planned for us. Let the hunt begin. We crept along a narrow trail covered in dry leaves, moving slow and quiet. But it didn't take long. A sharp snort broke the silence. The sound of movement. Boars. Close. Our team leader signaled, spread out and get ready. Each of us took position based on the herd's likely path. Moments later, the beasts came crashing through. In perfect sync, our team opened fire. Bullets thundered through the jungle air, dropping several hogs in an instant. It was a perfect opening. Calculated speed, pinpoint accuracy, and flawless teamwork. As the gunfire faded, the leader called over comms, "Hold formation!" Everything was still following the plan. We had set traps along the escape paths, knowing the wild boar's instincts. They scatter quickly when threatened. Our squad split and moved into flanking positions. I covered the western jungle line. Just as expected, 2 panicked boars bolted straight toward me. I fired. 1 down. This wasn't luck. It was preparation, experience, and knowing the habits of the hunted. The second hog made a break for the tree line, fast. I shouted until my voice cracked. "Cut it off, right side!" My teammate sprinted ahead, intercepting the beast just as it emerged from the brush. He raised his rifle silently, led the shot, and pulled the trigger with precision. A single bullet. Perfect hit. Instant takedown. The hunting hound shot off into the bush, noses to the ground. Meanwhile, we followed at a distance, rifles ready and corners locked down. 10 minutes later, barking exploded in the thickets. I sprinted to the sound and saw a hulking dark mass being circled. No hesitation. I steadied my rifle, aimed, and fired. Another clean takedown. As we double-checked the clearing, we caught a soft rustle from a nearby bush. Something was still out there. I motioned for silence and crept toward the sound. From the shadows, a massive boar emerged, slow, calculated. I adjusted my aim through the leaves. When the full body lined up, I squeezed the trigger. 1 shot, 1 kill. In the jungle, patience and position are your best weapons. Just when we thought it was over, we started packing up to head home. But then, a blur of black streaked across the narrow forest trail. The dogs launched into pursuit, pinning the beast against the steep ridge. No time to think. I took aim and fired into the open. There's no luck in this game, only skill and split-second decisions. morning hunt ended as sunlight filtered through the treetops and our team exhaled in sync. From ambushes to traps to precision dog runs, every tactic was calculated, every shot deliberate. But more than that, we fulfilled our mission, easing pressure on local farmers, protecting crops, and ensuring every team member made it out safe. All operations were conducted within legal boundaries and under permitted regulations.
Sen fazla yaklaş. Şeren sen de o zirveye çıkıyorsun.
After years away, I returned to visit my grandmother, longing for the peaceful days of our quiet countryside. But the sight that greeted me was like a punch to the gut. More than 5 hectares of rice fields had been torn apart, barns collapsed, crops destroyed, all in a single night. The villagers said the wild beasts came without warning. No one had time to react. But I couldn't just stand by and watch my homeland drown in fear. Tonight, we head out, not just to stop the destruction, but to take back the peace that this land once knew. By 6 p.m., we were already on the move, riding in a rugged UAZ Hunter heading deep into South Texas. With weapons and gear loaded, we rolled straight into our planned position. Look at that! Night had barely fallen, and the hogs were already pouring out across the fields. That familiar anger boiled up inside me. I locked onto the lead boar, steady and cold. My finger squeezed the trigger, clean and deliberate. The shot rang out, and the alpha dropped instantly. But the rest? They were sharp, too sharp. Before I could even chamber the next round, they vanished into the dark. Now I understood why they'd torn this place apart so easily. But tonight is different. This hunt is just getting started. After the initial chaos, we moved with more caution, stopping to pinpoint their location using advanced GPS and tracking tech. Once the coordinates were locked in, we moved out, fast and focused. This time, I wasn't alone. Leon was right behind me, moving in sync with every step. We split into different firing angles, covering all possible escape routes. Through the thermal scope, each hog stood out crystal clear, lit up against the cool night. When the targets lined up, the shots rang out. Fast, clean, and deadly accurate. In just a matter of minutes, the entire sounder was wiped out. One by one, those black silhouettes dropped into the field. Silence returned. It was as if no one and nothing had ever passed through this place. As night settled in, the hunt hit its peak, starting right at 10 p.m. We moved in silence, step by careful step, making sure not to startle the wild hogs lurking nearby. This was prime time, when the hogs came out to feed, so the chances of an encounter were high. Our team spread out along the edge of the field, each member locking into position with tight coordination. Out here, any hog that got spotted didn't stand a chance. Under the crosshairs of seasoned hunters, every shot counted, and every shot landed. We pushed deeper into the terrain. Through the thermal scope, I spotted a lone hog quietly breaking off from the group, moving on its own. At just over 100 meters out, I had the distance I needed to watch its movement and line up the shot with precision. Once it stepped into the kill zone, I squeezed the trigger. 2 rounds fired in quick succession, clean, decisive. The hog dropped instantly, motionless beneath the cold blanket of night.
Hey! Woo!
Day or night, it doesn't matter. When protecting this land is the mission, we see it through. We got another report from our team. A sounder of wild hogs had been spotted on the west side of the field. Without hesitation, Leon moved in to close the distance. Under the cover of darkness, the hogs were busy foraging, completely unaware, their natural caution gone. Seizing the moment, Leon controlled his breathing, took careful aim, and pulled the trigger. Boom! Everything was done fast, but with deadly precision. In seconds, the lead hog collapsed, motionless. The rest scattered, vanishing into the shadows. We couldn't let them slip away. The chase went on relentlessly. Hiding in a corner, I silently watched the shadows at the forest's edge. These beasts are always sharp. One wrong move, one gunshot, and they vanish without a trace. But this time, I wasn't about to let them escape. Gunshots rang out in rapid succession, cutting off every possible route. There was no chance left for these wild hogs to ever roam this land again. And just like that, the night hunt came to an end. We headed back, loaded down with a full haul on the 2025 Ranger. No words were needed. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, knowing Grandma's crops and the villagers' fields were safe once again. Wild boars, the rulers of the deep forest, with their muscular bodies, dagger-like tusks, and terrifying wild instincts. A mature male can weigh over 400 pounds, making it a nightmare for anyone brave enough to face it. Today, we, the seasoned hunters, venture deep into the dense woods, armed with experience, grit, and a fierce determination to confront this giant creature. The showdown begins between man and the true predator of the wild forest. Arriving at the hunting spot quite early, my friends and I gathered to review the plan for today's hunt. With our trusted rifles in hand, each of us moved to our designated positions. We had only gone a short way into the dense forest when a strange sound suddenly broke the silence. All attention shifted to the sound of footsteps and a strong, familiar scent. There it was, the wild boar charging ahead. Reflexes took over, and a decisive shot sealed the fate of the destruction that was about to unfold. The sun was rising high, and deep in the forest, thanks to our careful preparation, The hunters were strategically positioned, scattered across key spots at varying elevations, forming a tightly knit ambush. Perfectly concealed in the wilderness, we were all just waiting for the target to fall within our sights. And just as planned, the moment a boar appeared within any hunter's shooting range, the rifle immediately fired. Within less than 10 minutes, several more wild boars were brought down, marking a crucial success in this hunt. Still holding my position, I quickly pivoted the rifle to another direction. The wild boars here were overwhelming. Every few minutes, more kept appearing, causing the entire forest to come alive with chaotic sounds. However, taking them down was no easy task. It took almost a minute of continuous gunfire before we managed to bring down a few. The rest, quick-footed as ever, managed to flee into the deep woods, vanishing in the swirling dust. I left my position and followed the remaining trail. It didn't take long before I spotted the familiar figure. It was skillfully weaving through the trees, trying to avoid being seen. But with my modern binoculars in hand, nothing could escape my gaze. The shot was quick, powerful, and precise. The threat was neutralized just in time, before this place could suffer any further damage. As the sunset slowly faded, my steps continued to follow the trail of the prey, when suddenly, the sound of hunting dogs echoed, growing louder with each passing moment. The tension immediately enveloped me. Instinctively, I raised my rifle, scanning the trees ahead. Boom! The precise shot brought it down instantly, wrapping up the intense pursuit with a swift, clean finish. This area is indeed a prime spot for wild boar hunting, as they frequently appear here. Just a few minutes later, the successful conclusion of our hunt replayed itself, and we added more valuable trophies to our today's adventure. The hunt ended with exhaustion, but in exchange, we had trophies to be proud of. However, the density of wild boars is always a major challenge for us. To clear them all out, it will undoubtedly take much more time and effort. wind slipped through the leaves, carrying with it the damp scent of earth and the sharp tang of trampled vegetation. I tightened my grip on the rifle, my heartbeat sinking with the steady chirping of insects. Desolation. The hogs had destroyed everything. The moment had come. Stalking prey deep in the forest, every sense pushed to the limit. One small sound could give away my position. Hunting wild hogs isn't just about patience. It's about the hunter's grit and the ability to strike with lightning speed. Victory or failure is decided in a heartbeat. I released the hounds, breathing in the raw scent of the mountain forest. Today, I was determined not a single hog would escape. Right then, my dogs burst into loud barks. The first target of the day had arrived. From the rain-soaked brush, a dark figure exploded into view. It was fierce, desperately breaking free from danger. But I had been waiting, already calculated and ready. I pulled the trigger. Boom! The shot was dead on. The hog collapsed instantly. I let out a breath. It all happened in a flash. The sharp smell of gunpowder filled the air. I smiled. One clean takedown to start the day. And just like that, the forest got a little quieter, a little more peaceful. We surveyed the terrain around us. The thick vegetation here makes it a perfect hiding place for wild hogs. But for hunters like us, it's a real challenge. The hogs can disappear in an instant, while we struggle to get a clear view and make the right call. It takes serious hunting skills to succeed in conditions like this. Just then, a large figure emerged. It wasn't moving fast, but the tree trunks gave it perfect cover. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. Boom! Unfortunately, the aggressive hog dodged the shot. The bullet slammed into a tree, making it shudder. Taking the chance, the hog bolted. Bang! Bang! We missed it! Have you ever let an opportunity slip away right before your eyes? For me, and for hunters who are passionate and relentless, that's simply not an option. I stayed on the trail of the hog that had just escaped, waiting in silence for the perfect moment. That's what hunting is all about. It's not always easy. Sometimes it takes time and patience. Then finally, the moment arrived. The hog burst out from its hiding place. This time, there would be no mistake. I pulled the trigger. The shot hit clean. The animal tumbled to the ground, slid, and finally went still. What a feeling to take down a target you've tracked and worked for. You know that feeling, don't you? On this side, near the hillside by the tree line, my buddy Jack had spotted the target. "Watch this, it's my time to shine," he said. With that, Jack adjusted his scope and pulled the trigger. A sharp cracking shot rang out, loud and crisp. The hog froze. Jack dropped it in an instant. He's done this 100 times. The kind of clean execution where the hog's chance of escape? Exactly 0%. Through the scope, I scanned the distance. The wild hog was dragging itself along slowly, painful and struggling. The moment had come. If that's the case, I'll end its suffering. Boom! Clean, quick, decisive. The target dropped in a flash. The chase was over. The threat was gone. Looks like the whole village will sleep soundly tonight. There it was, the final target of the day. Out of the brush, a wild hog burst forth unexpectedly. If you hesitate for even a second, you'll miss your chance. But not me. With steady nerves, I stayed calm, held my breath, pulled the trigger. Bang! The bullet struck it clean in the body, sending it sliding downhill. But it wasn't done yet. It kept trying to run. And as long as it still had a chance to live, our village still had a chance to be torn apart. Boom! The second shot hit, dropping it for good. Just like that, today's hunt came to an end. A sense of calm settled over me. Hunting isn't always smooth, and speed doesn't always guarantee success. A good hunter knows patience is just as important. Peace has returned to the village, but no one knows what the future holds. Will the hogs come back? If they do, we'll be ready. Our work is officially recognized and protected by the United States government. We want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our teammates, the local farmers who stood by us, and the authorities who supported us every step of the way. We operate within legal boundaries, under proper policy, with safety protocols and risk insurance in place. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next hunt. Behind the beauty of a Texas dawn lies the silent plea of the farmers haunted by the wild boars. These beasts can turn fertile fields into battlegrounds within hours. That's why hunting them isn't just a leisure trip, it's a crucial mission to protect the hard work of an entire community. This morning, our team set out once again with one goal: to restore peace to the fields at the peak of harvest season. The Texas dawn paints the fields with a bittersweet beauty, but today, there's no time to enjoy it. After a quick strategy talk, we split up to stake out the hunting blinds scattered across the spots wild boars frequent. And the wait finally paid off. A wild boar burst from the edge of the forest, heading straight for the community's lush cornfield. Man, was it fast! I pulled the trigger, but the first shot only made it charge even harder. Luckily, I corrected my aim with the third shot. The marauder went down, giving the village back a peaceful harvest season. Looks like today's start is gonna be tough. Follow us to see what challenges lie ahead on this hunt. Over the other side of the field, David carefully set his rifle on a steady rest, choosing a perfect vantage point. From a distance, he locked onto his target. No room for error. A sharp shot rang out, sending the prey into eternal sleep without a warning. Thanks to the suppressor, the gunshot sounded like the whisper of death, quiet enough not to disturb the other wildlife. A clean, deadly shot. What do you think of his hunting skills, folks? Over on this side of the field, the action was just as intense. Suddenly, a massive herd of wild boars burst out like a raging flood. Holy smokes, where did they all come from? It's a swarm! Like a busted beehive, a stampede of wild boars tore across the field. I quickly opened fire. The gunshots roared, but only one went down while the rest vanished into the thick woods. One beast down, but the whole herd's still out there. Looks like this battle's far from over. As the sun climbed higher, the boars began retreating from the open fields into the thick brush and forest. Our hunt shifted into a new phase, tracking them down and facing them head-on. Following the scent of the hunting dog, John moved in on the enemy's hideout. Suddenly, the dog growled low, nose pointed straight at a thick brush. It's in there! The moment the boar stepped into view, John didn't hesitate. One clean shot sealed the deal. For all the sweat spilled in the fields, this bullet was far from wasted. When man and dog work as one, crops will flourish. What do you think of our teamwork? Over here, crouched behind an ancient tree, I almost blended into the stillness of the forest. Suddenly, a herd of wild boars casually trotted by, their calmness feeling like a challenge. Thinking of the sweet potato patch that they had ruined, a fire ignited inside me. I locked onto the lead boar and squeezed the trigger. It fell hard, and the whole herd scattered in panic back into the deep woods. Gunfire echoed through the air, protecting the livelihood of the people. Suddenly, Finn spotted a shadow trying to hide. Did it really think hiding in the tall grass would keep it safe? A sharp crack of the rifle echoed like an unexpected gift, bringing a perfect close to a day of hunting. In the heart of this unforgiving wilderness, even those who tried to vanish are found and taken down. Looking at the ravaged, torn-up fields, once rich and fertile, we knew right away this enemy wasn't your average nuisance. According to local villagers, the one leading the charge was a massive hog, weighing hundreds of kilos and mean as hell. Without hesitation, we set out with one goal in mind: track it down, and restore peace to the people. But the question hung heavy in the air. Would our experience and teamwork be enough to face down this monster? Follow our hunting crew as we take on one of our toughest missions yet. At the crack of dawn, after a quick strategy session, we moved into position. Each member took up their post, locking down every vital trail, every path those wild hogs might use to escape. The game was on. No matter how cunning they are, wild boars are creatures of habit, always sticking to the same beaten trails between feeding grounds and cover. As soon as the beast stepped out from behind the brush, I squeezed the trigger. One shot. Boom! Clean, precise, professional. It dropped instantly, never even made it to the tree line on the other side. For a true hunter, victory doesn't come from brute strength. It comes from a mind that knows how to read the game. The sun was beating down hard as we moved up the hills. We knew the heat would drive the prey into thick brush for cover, and that's when our four-legged partner truly earns his keep. The moment a dark shape broke through the bushes, I squeezed the trigger. A burst of shots tore through the air. Loud, sharp. Finally, the beast went down in an instant. Our teamwork isn't just from training, it's forged from hundreds of hunts, moments where life and death were just heartbeats apart. The calm didn't last long. The hounds picked up the scent again, their barks echoing through the hills. Everyone froze, breath held, waiting. Then, out of nowhere, it came charging from the base of the hill, straight at me. No hesitation. I raised my rifle and took aim. Boom! Boom! 2 shots. Clean hit. Dropped it on the spot. Danger was close, too close. But we hunters stand our ground. Every inch of this land is home, and protecting it from savagery isn't just our duty, it's a vow we'll never break. If that shot gave you chills, drop us a like. After hours of lying in wait, we had barely closed our eyes for a quick rest when the signal came through. The boar was roaming near the foot of the hill. Instantly, the team was on the move. The hounds did their job, flushing the beast from its cover. I followed its line of escape, steady and focused, then pulled the trigger. Boom! The shot landed square on target. One clean hit, no wasted motion. The animal dropped instantly. That single decisive shot was the result of thousands of hours of training, razor-sharp focus, and a heart that never flinches. The barrel was still hot when word came in from below. Our team had spotted the alpha boar. After an entire day of tracking, our efforts were finally paying off. I held my ground, ready to intercept. The ambush plan was set. Blocked both ends of its escape route. The whole forest seemed to hold its breath. The moment it stepped out of the brush, David swung his rifle toward it, and boom! A thunderous shot ripped through the silence, shaking the trees. Unstoppable, powerful, the beast's massive frame collapsed to the forest floor. Just when we thought the hunt was over for the day, we spotted another target, lurking dangerously close to the highway. From a distance, the hound's barks grew louder, pushing the dark, furious shadow right toward my position. I held my breath, finger on the trigger, waiting for the perfect moment. Then, boom! Clean, fast, decisive. The beast crashed to the ground, bringing the chase to an abrupt end. Remember this, if you're not a trained hunter, don't ever try to face these animals head on. Out here, the line between hunter and hunted can vanish in an instant. Land Cruiser, heavy with today's hard-earned haul, rumbled down the trail on the way home. Inside each of us, a quiet joy spread. We're ready to trade sleep, strength, even face danger. Just to see the grateful smiles of the locals, knowing their fields are safe once again. Hit follow and join us as we write the next chapter of this journey tomorrow. In the vast mountain forests, the locals face a constant hidden threat, the wild boars. These aggressive creatures destroy crops day and night, rendering the hard work of the villagers futile. Today's hunting trip isn't just an ordinary journey, but a powerful response to protect the peaceful lives of the mountain people. Will we, in this rugged terrain with dense foliage that obscures our view, have the speed and skill to take down these cunning destroyers? Join us now and follow the unfolding action. With all our hunting gear in hand, we made our way through the narrow trail, advancing deep into the forest with heightened alertness. The hunting dogs were released to do their job. Suddenly, a rustling noise came from beneath the forest's edge. I quickly stepped back, raising my rifle into position, ready to strike. A massive shadow leapt from the underbrush. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the gun split the air as the beast was hit, collapsing instantly. A perfect start. Fast, precise, and decisive. We ventured deeper into the forest, when suddenly, the loud barks of the hunting dogs echoed ahead, signaling that the prey was nearby. My teammate quickly sprinted forward, trying to spot the target amidst the thick underbrush. The dogs continued their work relentlessly, eventually driving the beast out into the open. He immediately closed in, raising his rifle, locking onto the creature's body, and fired. The bullet struck its mark, causing the prey to falter, but its survival instincts kicked in, and it bolted away in a desperate dash. Determined not to let the intruder escape, our entire team pushed forward, chasing it down with all our might, intent on finishing the job once and for all. Because the beast was already wounded, chasing it down wasn't too difficult. Before long, the hounds closed in, tightening the circle around their prey. It growled and fought back, but resistance was useless. My teammate arrived just in time, steady hands, rifle raised. He took a careful aim and squeezed the trigger. The gunshot thundered through the hills, and in that split second, the fatal round dropped the animal where it stood. the beast crashed to the ground, leaving chaos in its wake. Those hounds proved themselves true hunting partners. Without their relentless pursuit, my teammate might have lost the chance at this trophy. From another direction, a sudden gunshot cracked through the mountains. Turns out, my teammate had just dropped a massive boar of his own. That moment was nothing short of breath-stealing. The beast had charged straight at his hound, ready to strike back. A single heartbeat slower, and it could have ended in tragedy. But with calm precision, he pulled the trigger. The bullet struck true, dropping the animal before it could unleash its fury. A fitting end for a reckless brute, and one more step toward restoring peace for the folks who live out there. We pushed deeper, scouring every corner of the thickets. The brush was thick, and at any moment, the beast could explode out in an attack. Sure enough, a faint rustle stirred in the brush ahead. My hound tensed instantly, stepping back with that sharp signal only a seasoned dog can give. Prey was close. I raised my rifle, breath held, waiting for that split-second opening. Instant its head broke through the brush, my shot cracked. The bullet flew true, striking deep, and the boar dropped where it stood. Another target down. The tension lingered in the air, but we knew. We were closing the circle, step by step, to bring safety back to the people of this land. We decided to head back toward the trail, thinking the day's hunt was done. Then, the hounds erupted in the distance. Another signal, another target. The whole team charged forward. Before us unfolded pure chaos. A furious boar, surrounded, snarling and thrashing, desperate to break free of the tightening circle. I didn't waste a moment. Rifle raised and locked in, steady on the sights, and squeezed the trigger. Boom! The round tore through the beast, dropping it in its tracks. Another threat eliminated. The farmers' fields would stay safe, and this brute would never again spread fear across the land. After all the pursuit and danger, we finally put an end to the rampaging beasts, restoring peace to the people of this land. Crops were safe, and the fear had been pushed back where it belongs. Most importantly, every part of this hunt was carried out within the legal framework, respecting the regulations that guide responsible hunting.